I appreciate it.
Ah, we are live. We are absolutely live. Marina, dear, Marina
Hello.
Tagger. So it's so wonderful to see you, see your face, and it's great to have you on. You've got Mel. We're going to start with the jingle, and then we're going to talk about your singular, almost profession, I would say.
Or obsession, whichever way it goes.
Profession, obsession. Okay, we have to have the jingle though. Can't forget to have the.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Are you ready?
I'm ready.
Is the world ready?
Get a chair, grab a seat, or we'll sweep you off your feet. We move, we groove, you got Mel. Ease your legs, rest a while, all you gotta do is smile. We're swell, can't you tell you got Mel? When the show begins, you better hold on real tight, or before you know it, you'll be high as a kite. Take a break, settle down, we're the only show in town. It's our road, don't you know you got Mel? Give it up, don't think twice, we're a hurricane on ice. What the hell, give a yell, ring your bell, show and tell. Mademoiselle, give a smell, you got Mel.
You've got Mel.
Brilliant.
And thank you, dear. And Mel has Marina, Marina Tagger. We're going to talk about dolls. You're a doll in a dollhouse, a doll museum.
Doll in the dollhouse.
You've
Hello,
turned,
everyone.
you've turned
Mel,
your,
thank you for having me.
my pleasure. You've turned your abode into a doll museum.
Just a little one.
So, Marina, yesterday we had Karen on the show, and she's a ventriloquist with a doll. And today we're having you, and I'm going to tell the viewers that this is in honor of Doll Week.
In June. In June, there's Doll Week coming up. We
There,
celebrate dolls, and we start. I love to start early.
there is a Doll Week?
There is. There actually is.
Huh. So this is like the semi-annual Doll Week here.
Correct. It's
So,
always good to celebrate dolls, in
yeah.
my mind.
So do you want to tell the viewers how we know each other?
Well, how about you? You tell them. It's your
Ah,
show.
it's actually about you today.
We are related. We're wonderful relatives through marriage. My husband Aaron is Mel's first cousin, so that's that's right. That's how we know each other.
My remarkable first cousin. And
Absolutely.
and how long have we actually known each other?
Oh my goodness. I think I knew your parents before I actually met you, but I've been married for 30 years, so around and about that time. But
So
did we meet the first time? Did we meet the first time at the wedding? I think that's when you and I first met.
you think I remember?
I'll keep track.
I
It's
can't
okay.
remember. I can't remember what day this is. So, do you want to start at the beginning and tell us all about yourself? You want to start with the obsession?
um,
Where do you want to start?
sure, sure. When God created man, no, let's go a little further than that. So I was born in this little tiny town in Ukraine called Kiev, and I immigrated from Russia when I was 9 years old. I was in immigration for about a year. Let's see. I guess I should mention my mom and my dad. If you'd like to hear about them, my dad was an incredible artist and a cobbler. He loved what he did. My mom was an economist and then decided to become a hairdresser and was an international award-winning hairdresser. So everybody
International
followed their
award
passion.
award-winning hairdresser.
Yes, yes, yes. So um, I guess the following of the passion starts in the family, and I just followed suit with what I love to do. So I immigrated. We went through half a year through Austria, half a year through Italy, landed in Winnipeg, Manitoba, sponsored by my uncle. I lived there most of my life, studied there, got my education degree, majored in sciences, minor and majored in theater, and met and married Aaron, have two beautiful children, Sarah and Eli, and started teaching and then decided while the kids were growing up, I wanted to be home with them. And that's kind of what started my passion. I'm passionate about a few things in my life.
But Marina,
Holocaust studies. Mhm.
hold on a second. We're going to talk about dolls, and then we can talk about Holocaust studies.
Okay.
Um, what was it like growing up in Kiev? Did you have
From
dolls?
bits and pieces that I can remember, I had a fairly happy childhood. I was sheltered by my family, and I didn't know much of what was going on until we actually moved, and then I started hearing about the secrecy of celebrating different holidays and being able to just live normal lives, knowing that we were Jewish. So
So before you left, you didn't feel Jewish?
I knew that I was Jewish, but I was always told that it's something that was secret, something that was taboo to discuss. And I didn't know why until we left. And then, of course, I found out that, you never know, you never knew who you were speaking to or who was watching over the shoulder. So you had to be very careful.
And your parents, um, they were somehow in the Second World War.
Well, my grandmother was running from the Nazis. She had my uncle who was 2 years of age at that time, and actually they were hiding during Babi Yar, which was, of course, the major massacre in Kiev. And they were hiding. It's a whole other story. They were hiding with a Ukrainian family, and at night they would come out and rescue the survivors from the pit. So that was a very difficult position to be in, of course, and a very important job. And my grandfather served in the Russian army. He was a highly decorated veteran of war, and he fought the last battle in Berlin
Wow.
near the bunker, and he was injured. And it was a beautiful story. My grandmother was looking for him after the war because she took the last train out of Kiev to escape, and then she came back and she was looking for my grandfather, and he was in a field hospital, and they found each other, and she nursed him back to health. And in order to make a living and stay alive, they raised a little chicken farm. And the way they did it is they had fertilized eggs that each one of them would take turn to incubate it underneath their armpits because that was the warmest area that they had, and they would take turns. And then the chickens hatched little chicks, and they had a little chicken farm to live off of. So it's a
And
crazy story.
did you grow up with them?
I did. I did. Right up until we left. Unfortunately, my grandfather passed away 2 weeks before we left Russia. And so I left with my mom and my grandmother.
And
We were the Three Musketeers.
that's on your mom's side,
Correct.
and
Correct.
your paternal grandparents.
So I never knew my grandfather. Nobody knew him. And my grandmother was bedbound for many years due to a stroke. And so my dad stayed behind and took care of her. And we left for the greener pastures in the Canadian prairies.
Amazing. Once you came to Canada with your mom.
My mom and my grandmother.
Wow.
Yeah. And so we fondly called ourselves the Three Musketeers.
The three iron-willed ladies.
That's right. That's right.
I haven't known you that much, as a matter, but you are really, I think, capable of practically anything.
Thank you.
You are a real amazing human being. You stick up for everybody. Your kids are like that, and of course, I've known Aaron since he was born. Um, and so maybe now people are going to get a sense of what you are all about, this resilience, and also being in Winnipeg, between you and me is no big deal. So you ended up in Winnipeg. Now, okay, so now we can fast forward,
Mhm.
because I have a theory, Marina, that we're all stuck as 5 year olds. You know, I
I
write.
think I'm still in that stage for sure. So your theory is correct.
Okay, so start from there. Did you
All
have
right.
dolls in the Ukraine? What's going on here?
The glorious years, right? The 5 years of age. Yes. So I think I have been forever a child, honestly. And I think that's what keeps us young, and vibrant and going and just happy people. I've loved dolls all my life. I think I was a collector from the first moment I opened my eyes. I hear all these funny stories from my mom where while in Austria, I preoccupied myself with. We stayed in this hotel, and the hotel was on the upper floors, but on the lower floor was this toy shop, and they had a display of dolls in the window, and I literally stood there from morning until night looking at these dolls. And I love doing that. That's what I did back in Russia. I loved looking at dolls and trying to sneak a peek at one or two, and was always reprimanded not to touch them because they were not playthings. They were just to look at in some households. And I just actually found out yesterday from my mom that uh, my mom is a very refined lady. She loves the culture and she loves the music and art and everything surrounding that. And so in Vienna, she took me to a museum, this wonderful museum full of beautiful artworks. It was my grandmother, my great aunt, my grandmother's sister, my mom and I. And my mom's trying to introduce me to all of these fantastic paintings. And I was 9 at the time. And lo and behold, what do I see displayed in the middle of the area is this tall tower of dolls. So she was telling me that apparently I took such an interest to them that I was doing circles and burning the ground around it, trying to look at every angle. And my mom kept on redirecting my attention and stating, but wait, there's this painting and this artist. And apparently I told her, Mom, who needs the paintings when I have the dolls in front of me? So it's been always in the forefront of my mind, I guess. And fast forward, I um,
One second. As a young child in Kiev, did you have a doll?
I did. I had a couple of dolls, but for some reason, the antique dolls always interested me. And I remember my grandmother used to go play cards with her friends, and one of her friends had these two antique dolls sitting on her bed. And that's all I ever wanted to do was just stay on the bed. And I was told to stay at the end of the bed, not to touch. And I spent that entire time. They knew that that was my babysitter, was the two dolls on the bed. So
Uh,
that's what I did.
let's bring in. Now's the time to bring in a doll.
All right. Okay. So I have a bit of
It,
a
it,
history for you.
it looks like you have a few dolls in the background.
I do. And I pulled up some of the really interesting ones. So historically, place things started at around 500 BC, probably even earlier, in Roman and Greek times.
Marina,
And
those were different kind of dolls.
yes, yes. So I have a reproduction. I don't have the original because otherwise I get into trouble if I try to have one of those in my collection. But I'll show you this one. So these are the type of dolls that were found um, in graves of children, and they were either playthings or believed to have been religious icons for children. And many times the children would give up their dolls when they would get married, the girls. So these were buried with them, these
Hold
types of.
on, but that doll has hinges.
Yes, yes. So they were hinged and they were attached by cloth. This one is attached by string.
That's quite remarkable.
So it's quite fascinating because these dolls that had the swinging arms, some historians believe that they were worn around the necks of the girls, and the movement and the noise of the swinging arms and legs meant to scare off evil spirits. So hence they were probably found. Uh, they were part of the protective role for the child, I guess.
As in, who are you calling a doll?
That's right. They had their own ideas then. So those were the earliest ones. And then you had continental and creche. This is a continental one, and it represents a Flemish woman. She is from the early 1700s, and she has this join mechanism where she could look up or down. Now, many of these dolls were made as saints initially in churches or private homes, and they were also playthings. So I think the jointing of the neck, in my opinion, is that she is supposed to be looking down upon, people, or upon some of them were in private homes, private altars. So here's the
One second,
continental.
1 second. So, Marina,
Mhm.
how old is that doll?
From the early 1700s.
That doll is from the early 1700s,
Yeah,
and you own it?
I own it. I'm a proud next caretaker of that doll.
I hope
And
you have.
so is this one. This one is also from the 18th century.
1 second. I hope you have insurance, dear.
Yes, thank God. Yeah, so this one came from a museum
Mhm.
in South Dakota, and this is called a creche doll. And creche were primarily made in Italy or Austria. They were used in the creche scenes, so to depict a nativity scene. And they started off with Jesus and Mary and Joseph, and the three wise men and the angels, and then expanded to village people. And so it became such an incredible thing that all of a sudden people were competing with each other to have the best creche scenes. And it was the talk of the town. And some affluent people would commission these pieces to be made either in likeness of themselves or by famous artisans of the time to decorate, excuse me, their homes and churches. So these are called the creche figures.
What's that? So this is from. So how old is that? About 200 years old?
Yeah, from about 17, probably late 1700s, I would think, mid to
That
late
makes it even more
1700s.
than 200 years old.
Yeah, yeah.
And so and the clothing?
The clothing's all original.
What?
Yeah. And the heads were usually either made of wood or terracotta. This one is terracotta with wooden hands and feet. So you can see really neat feet with sandals. And the previous one that I showed you is carved wood.
So like the museum didn't want it anymore because
Well, they deacquisition their pieces many a times, or if they close down, you have the opportunity to purchase these amazing pieces.
wow.
Um, and so that's how they come into possession of collectors. There was a
It sounds like they cost thousands of dollars.
they do. The key is to find ones that are not as expensive. So
You're an expensive doll, you know.
that's what Aaron keeps on telling me.
Your
Um,
upkeep here, your upkeep, you know.
well,
Maybe, maybe
I'm not into jewelry
yeah,
and I'm not into furs. So this is a perfect diversion for me. Let's see. Do you want me to continue with the path of doll production?
yeah. The show is about your passion, so you know,
All
eh,
right. All right.
passion, not necessarily the Christian sense, right?
Right. No, no, not that kind of passion, but definitely passion. All
Because
right. So then
we're doing a lot of crosses and crashes and
I know, because I think they're the most unique out of the dolls. They are so lifelike, and a doll is a representation, really, of a human being. It's
I
the
think
artistry,
yeah
to
I think
represent people.
I think that the Christians have that market covered because Jews and Muslims aren't supposed to do that.
Right, right. So that's why I'm so lucky to get it from the other, the brothers and the sisters.
From our cousins, yes.
That's right. That's right. Um, so the next ones that came up were wax and paper mache, and they were made at different times. This one is from the 1800s, early 1800s. She's paper mache with a leather and wooden body. attributed to a company by the name of Johann Daniel Kessner. And that is the one that I'm currently researching and I'm attempting to write a book about. So, and this little doll came from 5 generations of the same family. So I'm the proud recipient now. Here is a wax doll, also attributed to the same company.
Wow.
And wax dolls were in production for a very long time. Also had to do with many of them with had religious connotations to them. So there's that.
So dolls were used mostly for ceremonies and not to as a plaything for children.
So they were both. Many of them, of course, were used for ceremonies. And sometimes they were handed off to the children after, or they had their own dolls made for them. For example, some of the wax artisans they realized the market, shall we say, was very fruitful for making wax as playthings for children. So they started doing that. But there are many like cloth dolls, wooden dolls, ivory, bone, whatever basically either the parents or the children themselves could get their hands on and fashion their doll out of something.
So you've shown now mostly, shall we say, European dolls.
Right. So majority of the dolls were made in Europe. There are a few that were made in other parts. The later ones came from the US, like the plastics and the vinyls. But my primary focus is on the European dolls.
Do you have like a favorite doll?
Well, anything that's made by the company of Johann Daniel Kessner, those are my favorites, or the early ones. I'll show you the bisque one that was made by Johann Daniel Kessner factory. And
wow,
a bisque doll. She's called an extreme pouty in that line, as of course attested by her face. And her head is made of bisque, her body is made of composition, and she was made in the late 1800s in Germany, in Waterhausen area.
Wow.
And then, of course, you have other ones that were made. This one you'll find interesting. It's a cloth doll that was made in Italy. The company started in the early 1900s, and by the Scavini family. It was Enrico de Scavini and Elena Scavini after World War I. So about 1918, they started producing these types of dolls. Many of them are in regional costumes. They're cloth and felt. There's that one. And this one is a little fun one that I thought I'd share. It's based on the comic strip of the Katzenjammer Kids. And I don't know if you remember, it was the longest running syndicate. I think it closed in like 2006, but it started in the late 1800s. And so it was based on books that were on Max and Moritz by Wilhelm Busch. That was he was in Germany. And so they fashioned the comic strips after those stories and then made dolls.
It's a bit spooky.
Yeah, they're quite interesting. There's a whole line of them, and they're made of paper mache, but they're kind of fun characters. You know, they're different. So, and I love different.
So there's dolls that you keep away from the flames, and there's dolls that you keep away from water.
Yes, preferably all of them, but
they're very fragile. So,
yes.
When did you start this in earnest?
Oh my goodness. Okay. Well, I used to play with dolls, naturally. And at about age 16, I was informed that I was way too old to play dolls anymore and that I needed to cut it out. It wasn't very ladylike. I was told by my mom. And so I partnered up with my grandmother, who had a very great appreciation of dolls. And she had these wonderful cabinets. And she said to me, you know, you could put your dolls in those cabinets. So one day I came to my mom and I said, I'm no longer playing with dolls, but I am a bona fide collector. And that was it. That's how my hobby was born. And I became a collector. And then it transferred over to a business. I restore toys and dolls, antique mostly, and worked for some museums and private collections, some celebrities, and that's what I do now for fun. It was born out of my love for the dolls and my desire to stay at home with the kids.
So you're actually making money doing this.
Yes, I'm not rich, but it gets us by, right? As they say, it gets us
Wonderful. And if there's a doll you like in particular, you can tell them that you broke it by accident and just keep it.
unless it's beyond repair, as some of the bisque ones. But I know I enjoy it, and then I studied to become a doll judge with an organization called United Federation of Doll Clubs, and I could definitely share that link if anybody's interested to check them
Yeah,
out.
for sure.
And
You also do you sell dolls?
not really, no. I'm mostly a collector. You know, you trade, you sell, but yeah, let's just go with that one. No. But
How many do you have?
oh my goodness. Well, from what you could see back there, so maybe 200, maybe a little more.
So, I had my friend Stephen Pullman on the show. He collects ancient wine glasses.
Oh wow.
But I can put you in touch with him. But I think that what you're doing is a lot more fun. And, it's hard. Once the doll is broken, they can send it to you and you'll fix it.
Yes.
Once a wine glass is broken, it's Gahaktetsaurus to fix it.
It takes a lot more skill to do so, I'm sure.
Or like Humpty Dumpty.
Exactly. Exactly.
So let's now talk about your other love. I don't know if it's love, your passion for
My drive.
Holocaust remembrance and so on. Tell us about that.
So I became involved with Holocaust studies. Actually, my first introduction into it was by a friend of mine when we lived up in Fort McMurray, Alberta. I was in elementary school and I was in fifth grade. And a dear friend of mine, who was this native girl, she was reading the diary of Anne Frank. And so she introduced me to this book and she says, you have to read it. It is so powerful. And from that point on, after I read the book, it was like an internal flame that was burning inside of me. And I just had to learn more. I had to do more. And I became very heavily involved in Holocaust studies. I've worked with survivors, I've arranged speaking engagements, um, stage managed, produced, directed plays that pertain to the Holocaust, um, worked on a traveling show, the Anne Frank traveling show, or not show, exhibit, sorry. And went to schools with Holocaust survivors to educate children on what happens when hate prevails. And so, I mean, I know it's a completely opposite spectrum with dolls and Holocaust studies, but this is kind of my driving force in my life. That's what I'm passionate about. That's what I do, and it's important, especially now, to continue educating people on that.
Why is it
And
important, especially now?
I look at the state of the world, right? Human beings are not very good at remembering things. And the never forget is ringing truer and truer as we go forth. And there needs to be more done before the last survivor passes on, because then you have all the nuts that come out and say Holocaust never happened. So we have an army of people that needs to fight that back and teach what really happened. So, and I think it's our duty to do that, and a privilege and an honor to do that for the people that have perished and that have survived.
For the 6 million Jews and other peoples
Mhm. Yeah,
who
yeah.
were massacred and exterminated. I just had this very bizarre thought today, that it had to be the Germans, with their engineering capacities and their capabilities and
A
their
well-oiled machine.
their ability to actually do what they say,
Yeah.
to fulfill contracts.
But the frightening part of it is that it can really happen in any society, right? All it takes is one person to feel that they are superior to another,
Is that
and
is
with
that
enough
what you
people
think
not doing
really?
anything. Hmm?
Is that what you think really?
Absolutely, absolutely. It's all about suppression, right? One group suppressing another and having enough, um, maybe propaganda, maybe just constant brainwashing of that they're doing the right thing, and this environment can flourish in any society, any background, any walks of life. And that's the scary part.
That's very scary given what's going on in your side of the world these days.
Exactly, exactly. So yeah, so this work is more important than ever, I think, and I'll gladly put my doll work aside for that to make a difference. So
So I'm going to connect you to my friend Marty Herskowitz, who was on the program, and I think that you two will have something to talk about because he also has a wonderful initiative of remembering the Holocaust through poetry.
oh wow, okay, I'd love that. Thank you.
And
Thank you.
so I'm definitely going to connect the two of you.
Thank you so
Um,
much.
and how did you meet my remarkable cousin
Blind date.
in Winnipeg?
Yeah, in Winnipeg. Actually, a good friend of mine, her sister was trying to connect her with Aaron, and she was too busy at that time. So she said, "Why don't you meet him?" And the rest is history. So
That's
serendipitous.
it is. It's remarkable.
Yeah,
So,
yeah.
so let's talk now about the Beatles.
The Beatles. Okay, okay. But before we talk about the Beatles, can I quickly read to you about the crazy obsession that's called doll collecting?
Oh, you can do anything. It's your show.
It's called doll pox.
I mean, you can't talk about the Rolling Stones on my show, but you can talk about
Right.
anything,
Okay. The Beatles
anything else
definitely, but we should close up the doll topic with the doll pox.
for sure.
Yes. So it's very contagious to adults, you know. The symptoms, you become glassy eyed when dolls are mentioned. You mumble in strange language understood only by another afflicted person. Victims tend to gather together in groups calling themselves clubs. Hangs out in strange places, frequents antique stores, flea markets, and doll sales. Feverishly checks latest books and prize guides. Note, becomes violent when thwarted from doing any of the above, as my family can attest to that. Recommended treatment, give money in large doses, allow full freedom to attend clandestine gatherings of other victims. Do not believe anything the patient says. So
Remarkable.
that is the disease.
I think you should be writing books for children.
I actually just completed something. It's called I Am Beautiful. And I was going to talk to you about that and perhaps illustrating it. And
Yeah. I mean, I'll publish it tomorrow.
awesome.
I
All
forgot
right.
to say that the show is sponsored by our books.
Oh, that's wonderful. Okay. So we'll
World's
definitely
simplest
need to talk
platform for
more.
creating interactive ebooks.
Yes, yes, yes.
Let's do it.
Let's chat. Absolutely. Absolutely.
Wonderful.
All right. To
And,
Beatles then.
and now the Beatles.
And now the Beatles.
You're a
So
bit
you'd
young
like to
for
know
the
what I
Beatles.
like, huh?
You're a bit young for the Beatles, but do you love them?
No, I definitely love them. And I think the most appropriate song right now, the sign of the times, is Let It Be.
Oh,
And that's the one that I always think about and kind of sing to myself. And yeah, that
have,
and Three Little Birds by Bob Marley.
that's fine too. Big Bob Marley fan. So,
Yeah.
but have you seen the show, Marina? Because you know what's going to happen now.
Oh gosh. Speaking words of wisdom, let it be.
From the beginning.
Oh gosh, I don't know the words.
It doesn't matter.
Okay. Um, all right, hang on. Um,
And you have such a lovely voice.
oh, thank you so much. This is actually the first. I am very shy because
I know.
today's
I know.
topic, you know, we we were covering the least favorite topic, which is me, and the most favorite topic, which is the doll collecting. So this was something definitely unique. But oh my goodness. Okay. Mary comes to me, speaking words of wisdom, let it be. Let it be, let it be, let it be, let it be. Speaking words of wisdom, let it be. All right, that's it. Before I.
In this hour of darkness,
Okay,
there is
sing with me
still
then.
a chance that we might see. I don't know the words. Let
Be an answer, let it be. And then the
it
chorus.
be.
Let it be,
Be.
let it be, let it be.
There will be an answer. Let it be. Be.
Good job,
So,
Mel.
Marina, you've done a remarkable. This was a remarkable show.
Well,
I,
thank you. You
share
know,
it.
you got me out of my comfort zone.
Yeah,
This
share
is
it.
not, yeah,
Share it wide with all your friends and the doll lovers and marina lovers. You are a remarkable person in this world,
thank you,
and
my dear.
you've had a difficult year. I know. Uh, Aaron was sick, and practically everybody else you lost friends, and
Many, many friends this year. Yeah, yeah.
my heart goes out to you.
Thank you.
And a huge love to your wonderful mishpoche.
Thank you so much, and you as well. And I'll put links below just to if people are interested in doll collecting or if they want to get in touch with me, I'll be happy to walk them through this crazy obsession. Thank you.
It's not so crazy. It's turned from an obsession into a profession.
Well, it's you know what? It's the historical aspect of it. I don't play with dolls per se. It's just not my thing, but I love researching them and I love writing about the historical information about them because, after all, they're representations of people from the past.
Remarkable. Remarkable.
Thank
Marina
you.
Tagger, thank you so much for being on the show.
Thank you
Can't
for having me.
can't wait to give you a giant hug at the next Simcha.
Absolutely. Looking forward to it. The day
And
we can all hug again.
as the Yidden say, Noroif Simchas.
All right. Thank you. And lots to you. Thank you. Bye.
Bye, dear.
Bye.